Welcome everyone to today's workbook discussion on Zoom. Welcome also to all who join us later by watching or listening to this recording. I'm Laura Fenimore, the Chief Development Officer and Volunteer Coordinator with the Foundation for Inner Peace, the scribe authorized publisher of A Course in Miracles. We really appreciate your partnership with the Foundation. And if you want to learn more about the Foundation or A Course in Miracles, please visit ACIM.org. If you feel inspired to make a love offering, please visit ACIM.org, and at the top of the page, you will find the word donate. All donations support the work of the Foundation. Each session will be delving into a discussion of the workbook lessons in A Course in Miracles, led by a moderator team of volunteers that work with the Foundation. What does discussion mean? In our gatherings here, we welcome the Holy Spirit to join us. Through this presence, our meeting becomes a joining of equals to commune with the Holy Spirit's guidance to experience miracles together. Some of the moderators here also support our social media channels, and if you'd like a list of FIP resources, please email support@acim.org, and we'll be happy to share the resource list with you. Now let's begin our discussion.
So here are guidelines for our Tuesday meetings, and we have a bit of focus so that everyone can participate and feel that we belong in this group. So we will foster a safe and positive space. We'll speak kindly and embrace kindness and respect. We'll focus on the Course, and although there are times when situations come up that might be relatable, make sure that we bring everything back to the Course and how it fits into the teachings of the Course. We'll share openly and respectfully, and although we may have differing perspectives, we'll honor each other's perspectives and the people that are sharing. We welcome the Holy Spirit, so when we're here, we'll allow whatever guidance to come through us, trusting that the most loving responses will come out to serve us all in the best way. And this recording, or this session, is being recorded, so you, with having your picture up on the screen, that is your indication of permission for you to be on the call, and the Foundation for Inner Peace can use this discussion and your pictures for Facebook, YouTube, or other social media in the way that they're embracing and spreading the word of the Course. So together, let's embark on the journey of learning and spiritual growth through the Course in Miracles. And we'll just go into we'll go into a bit of a centering for a moment with the introduction to the text. And I will just share just for a moment briefly. It was May of 1995 that I found the Course, or it found me. So I am honored and feel blessed to be able to share and facilitate this meeting on this 30th anniversary month. So the introduction to the Course. This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This Course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Thank you for participating. This lesson that we are on is lesson 109, and our lesson today, the title is I Rest in God. And again, I find it significant to be able to come to rest in this place. And we'll read the lesson, and then we'll have discussion afterwards. But once we've done the last paragraph, perhaps we can just experience the rest that comes from coming to this lesson on our path today. So I believe, Stephanie, you're up first, and then Andrew, and then Sharon, and we'll rotate around to go through the 9 paragraphs. So Stephanie, you're muted still, Stephanie.
Thank you. Lesson 109, I rest in God. We ask for rest today and quietness unshaken by the world's appearances. We ask for peace and stillness in the midst of all the turmoil born of clashing dreams. We ask for safety and for happiness, although we seem to look on danger and on sorrow. And we have the thought that will answer our asking with what we request.
Andrew, you're muted.
Sorry. I rest in God. This thought will bring to you the rest and quiet, peace and stillness, and the safety and the happiness you seek. I rest in God. This thought has power to wake the sleeping truth in you, whose vision sees beyond appearances to that same truth in everyone and everything there is. Here is the end of suffering for all the world and everyone who ever came and yet will come to linger for a while. Here is the thought in which the Son of God is born again, to recognize himself.
I rest in God. Completely undismayed, this thought will carry you through storms and strife, past misery and pain, past loss and death, and onward to the certainty of God. There is no suffering it cannot heal. There is no problem that it cannot solve, and no appearance but will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God.
This is the day of peace. You rest in God, and while the world is torn by winds of hate, your rest remains completely undisturbed. Yours is the rest of truth. Appearances cannot intrude on you. You call to all who join you in your rest, and they will hear and come to you because you rest in God. They will not hear another voice than yours because you gave your voice to God, and now you rest in Him and let Him speak through you.
In him you have no cares and no concerns, no burdens, no anxiety, no pain, no fear of the future, and no past regrets. In timelessness you rest, while time goes by without its touch upon you, for your rest can never change in any way at all. You rest today, and as you close your eyes, sink into stillness. Let these periods of rest and respite reassure your mind that all its frantic fantasies were but the dreams of fever that has passed away. Let it be still and thankful, accept its healing. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. Take time today to slip away from dreams and into peace.
Each hour that you take your rest today, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. A bird with broken wings begins to sing. A stream long dry begins to flow again. The world is born again each time you rest and hourly remember that you came to bring the peace of God into the world, that it might take its rest along with you.
With each 5 minutes that you rest today, the world is near waking, and the time when rest will be the only thing there is comes closer to all worn and tired minds, too weary now to go their way alone. And they will hear the bird begin to sing and see the stream begin to flow again, with hope reborn and energy restored, to walk with lightened steps along the road that suddenly seems easy as they go.
You rest within the peace of God today, and call upon your brothers from your rest to draw them to their rest along with you. You will be faithful to your trust today, forgetting no one, bringing everyone into the boundless circle of your peace, the holy sanctuary where you rest. Open the temple doors and let them come from far across the world, and near as well. Your distant brothers and your closest friends, bid them all enter here and rest with you.
You rest within the peace of God today, quiet and unafraid. Each brother comes to take his rest and offer it to you. We rest together here, for thus our rest is made complete, and what we give today we have received already. Time is not the guardian of what we give today. We give to those unborn and those passed by, to every thought of God and to the mind in which these thoughts were born and where they rest. And we remind them of their resting place each time we tell ourselves, I rest in God. Beautiful.
Thank you, Stephanie, Andrew, and Sharon. Do either of the three of you have anything that you would like to share from doing the reading or anything that jumped out?
Yes, I do. I was saying before we all came on that I'm taking a class through Pathways of Light, and I was doing my homework right before this, and the homework was all about resting in God. And one of the things that I realized while doing my homework is that I have a difficult time formally meditating, and unless it's meditating on Wednesday with the foundation for the 20 minutes. That's really easy because it's a guided meditation. But doing an actual meditation where I sit down and try to keep my mind from, jabbering, it's very difficult for me. But the process of resting in God is just like relaxing, taking a deep breath and just resting. And it is so peaceful and so beautiful. And now I'm wondering, what is the difference between resting in God and meditating? Johanna's going, there is no difference.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
I would just like to comment that I think this is one of the most beautiful lessons that there is, just to read. It's and that rest reminds me a lot of the inner peace that I can find when necessary, or that I have most of the time. But it seems like it goes far beyond that, where it extends to all the world. I think it's just a beautiful lesson. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
The thing that stood out to me for the first time was that resting is the opposite of fear. And I noticed that when I feel some disturbance, it is so easy to just go to these 4 words, and I never forget them. So it is a very beautiful lesson. I agree with what Andrew said about that. Thank you.
Open it up to anyone else who might have some comments. So Sharon, I just want to pick up on the meditation, and there are and I used to really struggle with wanting to get a good night's sleep, and I would be upset with myself because I would wake up during the night. And when I opened my mind up to saying I can lay in bed and rest my body, and I can just be in this moment, what I found is that it was much easier to get back to sleep. It's much easier to get back to just that meditative state. And we will feel refreshed. We'll feel energized. And I think there's one of the paragraphs that mentioned that we'll find that energy that comes from just giving ourselves permission to rest. So, yeah. Megan.
Thanks. Yeah, Sharon, I totally understand what you're talking about. Sometimes when I think about meditating, my ego gets all involved, and I get very what is it? I sort of attacking it, going, well, I get it in there instead of allowing myself to release and let God rest in God, which is what today's lesson is. We ask for rest today and quietness, unshaken by the world's appearances. I realize I'm investing so much in the world that my brain just doesn't seem to let it go, but I keep forgetting I need to ask for guidance to allow it to drop, because I get so stuck on how I'm not meditating that it keeps me from even remembering I can ask for help, and that meditation is not the goal. Meditation is a thing that I would like to do, but guidance is the thing that I would like more than meditation. Is guidance good for me today? Could you help me through guidance? And if guidance is not where I'm to be, could you help me lead me towards something else? But I really appreciate what this says about that the thought I rest in God brings peace. And I appreciate that a lot of people in my life have been talking about what's going on and the things that come on the news and how it distracts them and upsets them. And so I believe, like the first sentence, unshaken by the world's appearances. And so the rest of it is very much that no matter what is going on throughout all of the paragraphs, no matter what is going on, I rest in the surety that God's peace is above all this. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Megan. Yes. Johanna.
Thank you for the conversation, and thank you, Sharon and Megan, for your and Bernie, for your views on meditation. In a book I once read, somebody said there are as many ways to meditate as there are people.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuck with me, because I think it's true. And what I find in my own practice is that I don't meditate the same way through the years. It differs. There have been years that I was able to be just quiet and sit still for half an hour without any problem. And there have been times when that wasn't even possible or not even needed. And sometimes I can just have a click and it'll be done. I'll have the connection. So I don't think meditation is a means, is an end in itself. It is a means. So what is it for? And so if you find your connection with God through rest, there you have your reason. Thank you.
Thank you, Johanna. There's a lot in that. So, Sharon.
Yeah, I just do want to say, though, that in the class I'm taking, my instructor, Reverend Myron, we were talking about meditation, and she said, it is important, though. Jesus tells us that it's important. And so when we got off the call, I just, I went to the online ACIM and I searched the word meditation. It comes up twice.
Mhm.
And then I thought that can't be right. I typed up meditating, same two references twice. So I don't think, I don't know, I have to talk to her about it. But what I got from it is that you don't have to do formal meditation and get deeply into it and all that to connect with God or the Holy Spirit. God's a little distant. I mean, I know I'm in the heart of God, but I really associate my thoughts with the Holy Spirit. That's who I know the best. Thank you.
If I could respond real quickly.
Yeah.
Sure.
The Course talks about the quieting. It doesn't give the name of meditation to this quieting, but it talks about quieting. And I think the reason is meditation is often associated with what has come from the East.
Yeah.
And that is accompanied with lots of rules of how to sit, how to focus, how to watch your breath or look at a flame. And it comes with a whole list of instructions. Whereas the quieting that the Course talks of doesn't have that. And
Yeah.
if you rest in God and if you embrace the quieting, that's what we're after. And why?
Yeah.
What is it for? To make the connection with the Holy Spirit, with God, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you. I feel that way too.
Yeah. Thank you, Johanna, because that was what's coming up in our guidelines. It's allowing the Holy Spirit to come to us and come through us. And that can happen in an inhale and an exhale. And we may not find that in an hour of sitting.
I agree. I agree.
So thank you on that. Rich.
Yeah, meditation as a topic. Also, I mean, it's important. Meditation. Jesus in his public mission, he went off by himself to meditate. I suppose it's about that perfect way to live your day, where you have some real thoughtful meditation with God alone. You're in active social service, sleep, regular rest. Just the perfect balance, I suppose, would be the goal. I mean, I don't know. As far as lesson 109, like I like that 2:6, born again. Born again. If I can possibly let go of every ego belief I have that's not supremely happy, perfect peace, perfect joy, and truly let them go. Those beliefs that I made from a very young age that are not the will of God, they're not perfect peace, joy, and strength. They have to be let go of. And to me, that's one of the ideas about born again. But if I can get there, 5:1, in him you have no cares, no concerns, no burdens, no anxiety, no past regrets, etc., etc. Yes, I mean, that's if you're living in nothing but the God mind, perfect peace, joy, strength, and none of those negatives. And ACIM here is saying, think about, besides yourself, of course, in terms of active social service, you're thinking about everyone, even those, what did it say there about, I don't know, there's a couple of references to people who haven't even been born yet. Like, take everyone into consideration. I mean, one of the sentences in ACIM, you have assumed your part in your brother's redemption, and you are now fully responsible to him. So understand, moment to moment, what is perfect peace, joy, strength, sinless, pure, holy for yourself. Know it, live it, supremely happy, perfect peace, joy. Every thought, word leading to action, live it. And then that's all that you're looking for in terms of others, is one of the ideas about it, for sure. I mean, as far as being fully responsible for others is an idea I'm looking at. So anyway, that's it.
Right. Thank you, Rich. And yeah, there's lots of there's a lot of things you brought together in that. When we are at rest, when we are at peace, we do influence others just by being that way. And there's I think it's in paragraph 6 and 7, it talks about just when we still our minds, we have an impact on others, the birds, what's going on around us, and then we're able to recognize those things. So we get the blessing back of being at peace and sharing that as an exchange. It's just the way we show up, and when we can show up in someone else's chaos, that's our responsibility. If we can be not take on their chaos, just be at peace. So thank you.
I'll follow up briefly on that. Just the two references to even take into consideration people who haven't even been born yet, let alone all the people alive on planet Earth, like 2:5. You know, end of suffering, and everyone who ever came or yet will come, children to be born. And it says it there again at the end where you know, 9:5, we give to those unborn. So yeah, keep everybody in mind, not just everybody alive. Think about what's it called? The future generations.
Mhm. Yes. Thank you, Rich. Stephanie.
I can't believe that I'm commenting right after Rich and what you said, Bernie, about what Rich said, because my comment, I think, is exactly in flow with what they said. So I'll do my best to be clear. So one of the things that stood out to me is that when we rest in God, we have a good effect on everyone. And like Rich said, it's not just, it's everyone.
Yeah.
And so when we take care of ourselves, we take care of everyone. And Rich mentioned twice social service, which is the other way we take care of people is externally. And I wanted to comment on something Peter said last week that I thought about this week, and which was somebody that was in service to Peter. He was grateful, so he went out of his way to compliment the person and acknowledge them. So today, when I was taking a walk with my neighbor's dog, I noticed that a man that's working on the grounds was doing such a beautiful job, like cleaning everything up and picking up the debris. And I had it in my mind, so I said I should tell him. So I did tell him. And I said, thank you for making, I live in a condo community. Thank you for making our home beautiful. And he said, I'm so grateful you told me. And we went on to have like a little conversation, and it was a beautiful connection that made the world look more beautiful to me. And I want to mention, in which you mentioned too, in paragraph 7, and they will hear the bird. Well, I'm going to go back one sentence. And the time when rest will be the only thing there is comes closer to all worn and tired minds, too weary now to go their way alone. And they will hear the bird begin to sing and see the stream begin to flow again, with hope reborn and energy restored, to walk with lightened steps along the road that suddenly seems easy as they go. So I guess the thing that is moving me so much is the way we walk together and help each other. And of course, that's what the purpose of this entire group is.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, the course is focused on relationships, and in this group, we are in relationship with others and our divine self. And the practice is our self-study of how we bring it out for each other. So, or bring it out for ourselves and influence others. So thank you. Sora, you're muted.
I know. Okay. I
Thank
said
you.
I know, and of course you couldn't hear that. I just want to go back to what Sharon said. Do a search for practice periods, because that's what the course calls meditation, or do a search for exercises. And I mean, if that's what you're interested in, but it said practice periods 128 times. So it doesn't refer to them as meditations, but that's what they are, the period of practicing quiet. So that's it. That's just a technical thing. Whether it's helpful or not, I don't know, but I hope so.
Yeah. Thank you, Sora. Peter.
Yeah, I love this lesson, and I really appreciate the discussion. And I rest in God. For me, that has a lot to do with joining with God. So resting with God, joining, becoming one with God. I do meditate every morning, and my goal is two things. Number one is to smile as much as I can while I'm meditating. So I do a smile meditation. And the second thing is to forgive myself when I don't smile. And again, Sharon, I would also say take a look at the teacher's manual. Question 16, how should the teacher of God spend his day? There is a section in there where he talks about quiet time. I think quiet time is kind of how the course might refer to meditation. And he says, duration is not the major concern. One can easily sit an hour with eyes closed and accomplish nothing. One can as easily give God only an instant, and in that instant, join with him completely. So the idea, I think, is just what's my intention, when I get quiet, when I do spend that quiet time. And so, I try not to overthink it, and I definitely try not to judge myself for the quality of my meditation or the duration of my meditation, because that, for me, that defeats the whole purpose. That's what I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. And your smile meditation is contagious.
Yeah, I like that.
So it does bring that out. And thank you for bringing the message out of in an instant, or an hour can be isn't necessarily the outcome or the goal. And when we do sit and practice, it's the time we practice in being at rest and being at peace is cumulative. So even the smallest of instants can have significant effect when we just can hold that as an intention, a focus, so we can be in that place. It gives us that, so we can be, as it talks about at the beginning, the first paragraph about being in the chaos of the world around us. You bring your smile to the chaos around us, and life just kind of makes it easier for others. So thank you. Rich?
Yeah, I mean, there's always other little things pop out here. I mean, the way it starts out there, being unshaken, and I see 3, 2, the certainty of God. We certainly want that. So, there's a way to be. I mean, there's a lot of sentences in the book about the subject, but there's a way to be where you truly are Jesus-like, Gautama Siddhartha Buddha-like, in terms of real strength, real joy, real presence, real goodness. And, you can't be shaken by anything. You can't be shaken by your own thoughts, words, or actions, and you can't be shaken by anybody else's thoughts, words, or actions, no matter what's going on, moment to moment. Real peace, real strength of mind. I mean, it has everything to do with love and service and all these other major ideas in here about how to be. The Bible talks about the peace of God, which passes understanding. This peace is totally incapable of being shaken by errors of any kind. It denies the ability of anything not of God to affect you. So at the same time, all of ACIM's main ideas are pretty much on every page or every couple of pages. Because, for me, like, 2, 4, the same truth in everyone and everything there is. So the truth is the same for everyone. There is sentences in the book that say it. I'm thinking about the one sentence in the first law of chaos, that the truth is different for everyone. But in any event, spiritual beliefs, quite frankly, how to do everything, words, actions, behavior, physically. There's a right way and a wrong way. The mind can be right or wrong. There's a truth, and there's something that would be not supremely happy, perfect peace, joy, and strength. So, once again, I would just say the idea is to understand what that is, by living it. And then, that's what you're looking for in others.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Rich. And
oh, I forgot one.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead.
I forgot the one that I forgot the last time. 5.2. So if you're living in this enlightened Jesus-like, Jesus in his public mission way of living, you're in timelessness, you're timeless because you're living the perfect life, but time still continues. This isn't about the elimination of time in that sense. Jesus in his public mission, he's living timelessly, but time still happens. Moment to moment still occurs. So it's not about getting rid of time. It's about living so perfectly that you're living timelessly while time continues to pass by.
Mhm. Yes, and that's bringing that guidance that we get from the Holy Spirit into this human experience of time. You know, without the body, time is really irrelevant. And the other thing I just wanted to pick up on with understanding, it's something that we can work towards achieving. However, if we don't have it, it's the opportunity to be curious so we can come to it, or it will come to us without us having to try and be judgmental or critical that we don't quite understand. It shows up for us when we're staying open to it and in a heart space that allows it to be received. Thanks, Sora.
Yeah, this is a course in mind training. So until and I remember in the beginning, until I sat down and tried to quiet, I didn't realize how noisy my mind is. And that reminds me of the idea from the East of monkey mind. And that, that's what our minds are. There's yada, 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 chatter, chatter, chatter all day long. And I think, so you start the practice periods, not meditation, practice period or exercises. He also uses that word. And then you get up to lesson 44, and it's something like your mind is no longer wholly untrained. And it's the recognition that this takes time. And to me, to rest in God is just to it's more attitudinal and in a way behavioral. That was it Megan? Someone talked about all the noise from what's going on in the news, and it's noisy, and to cultivate that attitude of something I heard Marianne Williamson talk about years and years and years ago, that the course could be summed up in one word, and the word is relax. And that's a big deal when everything out there seems to be so noisy. And to have that attitude of rest, and I think that's what doing these practices or meditations is gearing us towards. If I can be still for 15 minutes, or even not be still, but if I can let the thoughts drift in and out. I mean, there's a gazillion of them. If I can just let them, flow through like clouds, just see them disappearing, and not be as reactive to them. And that's a lesson for me, because I tend to be very reactive to my mind. But that's it. Mind training, monkey mind, and be gentle on ourselves. If we miss a practice period, or we're not doing it perfectly, we're reminded to be gentle and to relax. And that carries an attitude with it of relaxation. And that's how we affect the world. But anyway, yeah, that's how we become a way shower or a guide, or we become more effective just because we carry that attitude of peace.
Thank you, Sora. Yes, and that if we're at peace, we can identify what our body feels like when we're at peace, when we're relaxed, and when it's not. And we can use that as a measuring device to focus on, just as a guide. And we do have the ideas come to our mind. The Course does say the ideas come into our mind. Some of them we like and some of them we don't. When we can express gratitude for them showing up, I like this idea. It's not about liking or not, just thank you for showing up. And then we can surrender them with, gratitude and let them go without attachments. You know, we can forgive ourselves for the ego attachment that we placed on the idea, whether we like it or not. And that does take us in the direction of finding ourselves more at peace and more at rest. Megan.
So I find it fascinating that so many people come together and we're all traveling the same path, but we're doing it differently from each other, because the way we've gotten to where we are now has been a different something that resonates with me doesn't necessarily resonate with everybody else. But I heard the word perfection, and I realized that for me, if I try to attain some sort of perfect experience on earth, that I'm working towards something that's unattainable. Without God, there is no such thing as perfection. I cannot reach that attainment. There is no such thing. So the Course has asked me very gently and nicely to look at my perspective and to ask whether that perspective is serving me in a spiritual way or is not serving me. Am I happy? Or does this bring me happiness and joy? Does it serve the will of God, or does it serve some other purpose that I am unaware of? So I think for me, I work very hard not to put people or what other people have done above me as something that they're doing better, but as a roadmap that I can reach more. But I keep having to tell myself that my path is just as important as their path was. So if I talk about Jesus or the Buddha or anybody else, I recognize their path was their path, and those paths led them there. And I am on my path now, and I have to respect that my path has its own tempo, its own way of, I have my own blocks that I need to overcome. And so I think the biggest thing for the Course for me is that it keeps telling me to do all this very kindly, not to try to jerk myself into trying to define where I would like to be and then trying to force myself into having those habits or becoming that person, but to keep questioning what I'm doing so that, again, with God's guidance, am I serving the will of God? Am I serving joy and happiness in myself? Am I becoming a happier person? Do I see happier things around me? And if so, that I'm progressing. And if not, it's not a big deal. I can see it as an error and make another choice. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, I think the term is equifinality. All roads lead to the same end. You know, for the most part, we each are on our own path so that we can be, you know, the way that the manual for teachers would say, we're on our own path so that we can be relatable to other people who are on the similar path, maybe a step or two ahead or a step or two behind. And that's where we, you know, that's being in that, being at peace in where we are is without comparison, it's the right place for us. So thank you, Megan. Rich.
All right, another important topic to me. I'm working on that whole thing there about 5-5, you know, reassure the mind that all its frantic fantasies. So we're but, you know, feverish whatever that is hopefully gone, you know, one day will be gone. So you know, fantasies, you know, ego things are impossible. Ego things that are impossible. They're not the will of God. They cannot actually occur. And if I act on any of them, I'm definitely going to feel remorse, disappointment, sadness, whatever. So fantasy, no fantasy. There's plenty of sentences in the book about this one. You know, for me, fantasies are all undone, and no one and nothing's still bound by them. Forgiveness. If I forgive myself fully for everything I've ever done that was not perfect joy, peace, strength. So anything that was a fantasy in that sense of had any negative emotions in it, including seeing people as bodies. If I can forgive myself fully for all that, the ego stuff will go away. Is the idea to me. Also, as far as this whole thing about frantic fantasies and like the book does say, don't underestimate the power of the ego in a sense. Just because it's a lie doesn't mean it doesn't have a lot of power in there that has to be undone by the Holy Spirit. But so then the idea is, just the ferociousness, the viciousness of the ego, the incessant, when the ego speaks first and loudest constantly, that's a problem, depending on the habit. But, ACIM definitely talks about, double purposes, insanely sought. I know what the right thing to do is, but I want to do this, double purposes, insanely sought. Or, again, a good idea about it, stolen scraps of pleasure. Do I want to spend my day with stolen scraps of pleasure where I'm not perfectly joyous, perfectly peaceful, perfectly strong? I'd rather go for this stolen scrap of pleasure and have some kind of a body thrill, and then I'm in remorse. So the answer is no.
Thank you. Yes, and fantasies and wishes are something we can put our energy into, and they can seem very important. The question we can always come back to, is this a wish, a fantasy, or is it the will of God? And what am I aligned with? And when we are aligned with the will of God, we will rest. We will find ourselves at rest, and we won't be chasing after the elusive nightmares to follow. So thank you, Rich. Stephanie.
One of the things that has been coming to my awareness as this discussion's gone on is the relationship of forgiveness and resting in God. And that I loved what Megan said about the perfectionism, because that's been an issue for me. And it's like, it's permission to not have to be perfect. Just rest in God. And I want to mention something to you, Rich. You said in the last session that resonated with me all week. You spoke about gentleness, and you mentioned it numerous times last session. And to me, forgiveness and gentleness and resting in God, man, they are just what I'm looking for. And this lesson shows that if I look for it, it's good not only for me, but for others. So that's a beautiful thing. Sometimes, Rich, I have to tell you, you say so much, my mind explodes trying to follow you.
But thank you, Stephanie. And yeah, forgiveness and gentleness are key to finding that place, to getting back to where we are supposed to be in that resting state. So thank you. Sharon.
I just wanted to say the idea about resting in God and actually relaxing and resting. In one of the classes I'm taking, we were talking about that Harry Potter, I think it was the first one where the three kids get into the devil's snare, and it's all these things like wrapping these tentacles, wrapping around him and choking him and squeezing him. And Hermione is saying, you have to relax, just relax. And she relaxes, and she just falls right through. But Ron can't get it. He's just not relaxed. And it just reminded me of what we were talking about in that class, that you have to just relax into the presence of the Holy Spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Megan.
Sharon, what you said totally made me forget what I was going to say. I was just at a session where we were talking about the devil's snare, and they went into it graphically. Somebody said, "What do you mean, Harry Potter?" And they went into, describing the whole thing. But I think for me, here's what I was going to say, is that the other day I recognized a part of myself had realized, for a long time, my shoulders have been up here, been hyper vigilant, very, very much my shoulders up, ready to go. And so for about a week, I just kept I kept feeling they were up and saying, why are they up? And I would just relax. And I think that this lesson is really good. And the fact that it's telling me rest in God. And I think that some of those things are coming through where I can actually feel my shoulders in a position that is not natural, and they're actually lowering, and actually noticing that is beautiful for me. Thanks very much.
Thank you. That's a good, your body is a good identifier of whether you're resting, whether you're at peace or not. So thanks, Megan. Rich.
All right. Just something I was thinking about earlier. I mean, as far as, yeah, tremendous gentleness. I mean, yes. As far as the important attributes, I'll go with gentleness in terms of everything that means in a very deep way. But so one thing about gentleness, though, as far as my mind is concerned, can I this is, I mean, physically we can control our behavior, but mentally, can I go from one very loving, calm, joyous, peaceful, kind thought to the next, to the next, to the next, moment to moment, real gentleness of mind, where my, one thought, I looked up something in the book about it. Let us be still an instant. I don't know. I didn't find exactly what I was looking for in the book, but it's that idea that, one thought at a time, in strength and gentleness and stillness and goodness and kindness and love and peace and joy, et cetera, nothing else present, moment to moment, no mind wandering. If I know there's a topic in my ego mind there about something that would not be perfect peace, joy, strength, don't go there. Don't let yourself go there mentally. Stay in what is truly calm, strong, peace, gentle, one thought after another. Good luck.
Thank you, Rich. Johanna, did you have something?
Yeah, good luck. I love that. That's a great way to egg us all on. There is help though. Whenever we find ourselves with these awful thoughts popping up, we can bring them to the Holy Spirit. That's what the Course is teaching us. And so, yes, the gentleness and the peacefulness and the strength, that is all described extensively to stimulate us, to motivate us. And how do we get there? Not by clinging to it, but by letting go of everything that stands in the way. And we can let that go by ourselves. We need the help of the Holy Spirit to do that. So every time something comes up that is not in line with love, the Course calls us to offer it up and ask to see with the eyes of love. And so there is help, and it takes time. It's a process. Anyway, just thought
Thank
I'd
you.
share that.
Megan, quick.
Yeah, I was just going to say that when I forget to ask Holy Spirit, I've learned to ask some of my Course friends now to help me. So I just like the idea that, there's help. It doesn't always have to be the Course or God, but there's somebody that help you along your way. Thank you, Bernie, for this.
Yeah. Thank you, Megan. And the Course does say we hear the voice of the Holy Spirit directly and through the voice of others. So we're here to be in that. We will close off with a brief prayer and finish here. Dear God, we come before you and we thank you for the opportunity to connect with one another. We thank you for the opportunity to be able to listen, to learn from each other, to be able to share, trusting that the gifts that you give to us are meaningful to be shared with each other. We thank you for this lesson on being able to rest with you. We do rest in God, and we thank you for the gift of the reminder of that today and in each moment. And we also thank you for the gift of forgiveness so that we are able to find a way back to that rest, to your loving presence, to being at peace. And as we do so, we forgive ourselves for any chatter that comes to mind and open ourselves up to that resting in peace. We thank you as well for being able to share in this experience and also to be an instrument of your will. We ask how we can be guided by you. We remain humble and curious and allow you to guide us so that we can rest and be an example of rest and peace to others. We ask that you hear this prayer through the child that you created us as, and so it is.